Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, currently featuring Steven Universe, Miraculous Ladybug, the new Powerpuff Girls, and Archer. I am Dylan Hysen, and today I am joined by Delaney Stovall.
Hello.
And Michelle Anderer.
Hey.
Today, Delaney, Michelle, and I will be discussing the latest 2 episodes of the new Powerpuff Girls reboot, episodes 12 and 13, the Wrinklegruff Gals and Anachro-Romance, the latter of which aired tonight on Cartoon Network, the former of which aired a week ago. We cover the new Powerpuff Girls reboot every other week here on the Overly Animated Podcast, discussing the latest 2 episodes. And you can check out our previous content on this new Powerpuff Girls reboot at overlyanimated.com. You can find us on iTunes, search for the Overly Animated Podcast there or on your favorite podcatcher. And you can, of course, subscribe to our new Powerpuff Girls specific iTunes feed. You can find that link at overlyanimated.com. Let's get right into these 2 episodes of the new Powerpuff Girls. But first, we haven't heard from you, Michelle, a while on the new Powerpuff Girls reboot, probably since the first podcast we did on it.
Yeah, since like episode 3.
So what have you thought of the series since the first few episodes?
I think it's definitely become a lot more consistent in what it's trying to be, which is definitely a strong point for it. There are a couple episodes that I was like super not a fan of, but there were a handful that I actually thought were pretty funny. So I don't know if this is like how long the first season is, if this is like the halfway point or not, but I'm optimistic to see more. It's not one of my favorite shows, but like it's a solid show, and I think that's definitely saying something.
Does one stand out to you as your favorite off the top of your head?
Oh boy. Actually, I really liked the Wrinklegruff Gals. I think that's one of my favorite episodes so far.
Interesting. And if you have not listened to us before on the podcast, me and Delaney have been very positive about the series recently. So I'll have a note on, I've recently found that most places have not been positive about the series. I'll talk about that probably towards the end. But
yeah.
The short summary is I disagree. So let's talk about these 2 episodes. Let's briefly your thoughts on both episodes, and then we'll get specifics into both of them. Delaney, why don't you start us off? What do you think of the Wrinklegruff Gals, and then what do you think of Wrinklegruff Gals, and then what do you think of anachro-romance?
Wrinklegruff Gals was I enjoyed like the joke and twist on the origin story, and it was a funny, cute episode. I don't think I was really expecting an age up episode. Also, it addressed some of the questions we had about, like, how old are they, what grade are they in, kind of explaining, like, what happened to, like, their old school, and, like, what's been going on. So it was pretty cool. It was good. I enjoyed it. I mean, I wasn't, like, too crazy about it. Like, they were old for a little bit longer than I would have liked for them to be. Mojo Jojo was in the episode, which is always a plus. It was pretty solid, I thought, like, and then the
Arachno-Romance.
Yeah.
It's always good. Like, I read the summary and I was like, LOL, the professor, this will be good. We've played this before, and it was pretty cute. Like, it was funny. We have the tow truck thing again, which is like I'm enjoying this kind of continuity and like getting set into this universe with the Powerpuff Girls. Like, those are kind of like the little things I like. And it was a really funny, like, idea, like, that she just turns into a spider. I mean, it's kind of silly, but, like, I don't know, it worked, and I thought it was kind of nice to have the professor doing something, I guess. Like, it was good, and, like, I enjoyed it. They were cute episodes.
Nice. Michelle, what about you?
I think I definitely like the Wrinklegruff Gals the most out of the 2. I for whatever reason, just like all the jokes they were making as like being old ladies, it was like really funny to me when I was watching it the other day. Even like the part where like they're like really slowly crossing the street to get at Mojo, which just like I don't know, I just thought it was really funny. And the Arachno-Romance, I did enjoy. I probably should have seen the twist coming that she was literally the spider.
They tricked you.
I assumed she like maybe was like working on like a spider that like a mutant that got out of control, but it was like literally her. So
do you watch Doctor Who? If you don't watch Doctor Who, I can forget this.
I don't watch Doctor Who.
Okay, I'll forgive this because this is literally a Doctor Who episode.
So like originally,
Yeah, that's where they got it from.
Originally, it was like very obvious to choose the spider, but then I was like, okay, what? This is stupid. Like that's not what's happening. So then I
assumed it must be something else.
So then the episode kind of convinced me it wasn't what's happening, and then it did happen. So that was kind of my thought process.
She said it so casual too. She's like, "Oh yeah, like I have this curse thing, basically, like this genetic problem. I'm trying to fix it." It's like that's a really big deal.
It was a
like
accident, yeah. So,
yeah, that's like
just BT Dubs. I'm a spider.
Yeah, BT Dubs. Like they're already dating before she like tells him this. It seems like something you do as like an intro. Like by the way.
Well, I like that it was a trick on that she didn't like that it wasn't the email. She was like, "LOL, I know it wasn't you guys. I knew it was y'all. Like y'all sent me an email from like with the dust. Like I know." So I like that part. That was pretty good.
Yeah,
that was a twist.
I actually think anachro-romance was really good. I think the ending was pretty brilliant. It was just lampooning a bunch of stuff, and it just really worked. It worked really well for me. I think anachro-romance, the Professor Romance stuff I thought was hilarious. I think there was some great the typical thing in this show has been very established. We're only 13 episodes in, but it has a thing which is here's some life thing that's happening. Here's how Blossom reacts to it. Here's how Bubbles reacts to it. Here's how Buttercup reacts to it. And I love it. Like I know they keep doing it, but it's still so good every time. And anachro-romance had great stuff on that. I have a controversial update on my favorite Powerpuff Girl coming up.
Ooh,
yeah, anachro-romance was I thought it was so really good. Like I think it might have been the best episode of the show. I think Wrinklegruff Gals was it had elements which I thought were very good. Like I like the parody. I like the parody of the theme. I like certain elements of it. Overall, I was not necessarily laughing too much at it. And I think it was okay though. Like neither of these were super bad or anything. I think the show overall is still very good, which I mean if you're listening to us for the first time on the show, that's like what? Like everyone hates the show.
We like it.
No, I actually think the show is like not just like it's cute, it's good. I actually think it's very good. So I don't really understand the reaction. Like I think anachro-romance is like on Gravity Falls level of just quality, like straight up. Like I think it's just like as good as the typical Gravity Falls episode. Like I don't understand. The parodies there, the characterization's there, kind of the again like the type of humor is just very analogous to that show, and just like I just think straight up this is a very good show right now. It's kind of shocking to have seen some of the online reaction. I don't know why I sought it out, but I did.
Yeah, you should.
I really shouldn't have. So let's go through specifics of these episodes, and then we can work our way to a higher level discussion on the show at the end. So we'll start with Wrinklegruff Gals. Delaney, why don't you, as our resident original Powerpuff Girls quote unquote expert, why don't you tell us what this title is parodying? Right.
I think it's the. So it's like there was like the Rowdy Rough gang. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
Like they were making fun of like. I meant to look this up before.
Yeah, it was like the Rowdy.
It was the Rowdy Rough Boys. They're making fun of like which I'm assuming we're actually going to see the Rowdy Rough Boys because the Rowdy Rough Boys it's kind of like Alvin and the Chipmunks kind of deal. Like there's like this group of like Alvin and the Chipmunks. There's like the girl Chipmunks. The Rowdy Rough Boys are like the guy Powerpuff Girls, and they're like this gang. And so that's why the name. I kept laughing at the name because it's clearly like.
Yeah, it's just a spin-off of them. Yeah.
Yeah, which I'm assuming. I think we'll probably see the Rowdy Rough Boys in the show. At least I hope so. But,
yeah, I thought this was originally when I saw the title. I was like, "Is this Rowdy Rough Boys related?" No, it's just like
unfortunately
the Wrinklegruff Boys.
Yeah,
which is why it's pretty good. Wrinklegruff Gals.
So we start off Pokey Oaks Kindergarten, and we'd been wondering what grade they're in now. And turns out they are still supposedly supposed to be in kindergarten, but then they go to this new school.
Just because.
Do we when we see school in other episodes? Was it the kindergarten or was it like the elementary school?
It seemed like an elementary school before.
But it didn't look like the kindergarten. The kindergarten they showed looks like the kindergarten from the original show.
I don't remember. Yeah.
But then like I do think they were in kindergarten, like because they say like spring break. So I do think I do think that they were going to kindergarten, and then you go home for spring break, I guess. And, your school, you go home for spring break. They just don't have like crazy spring break. At least please, kindergartners don't have college spring break. But they, I do think this is like the school we've seen before. It just kind of looked different because it was boarded up and messed up.
Do you think this is an attempt to age them up? Like, is this supposed to be permanent that they're in the elementary school? Because I couldn't tell from we don't really see them in school in anachro-romance or where this episode is continuity-wise, so. Well,
I think we should get used to seeing them, like, with the older kids, but, like, they were in high school, so.
Yeah, that was really.
Oh, was it actually high school?
It wasn't even, like, middle school. It was, like, definitely a high school.
Why was it definitely high school?
Well, it was definitely not elementary school.
Yeah. I guess it could have been middle school, but it felt more like it was high school.
Yeah, they were playing it kind of like it was high school. It was a little weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
it could have been a middle school, but like it definitely wasn't an elementary school.
Yeah,
so
it definitely wasn't
what they're doing.
I mean, we'll see with the saga on where this goes, but it is interesting that they went to kindergarten straight away in the school because I don't know. I definitely still think they act older than they did in the original series, but whatever. At times, no. Like at times, they don't. So we'll see.
That's the fun part of the show, though. So
yeah. Bubbles is giving backstory to why they can't go to the kindergarten anymore, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I found the space goo, and it's like it turned into a sentient being." And she's like, "Hi, Pee-wee," and it's just there. So that's interesting.
And then it hits the hamster, and the world ends. It's so good.
They're going to a new school, and they like cut to the prison, and
it's pretty good.
Bubbles and Blossom are like clinging to each other, which is cute. I don't know if we've seen too much Bubbles and Blossom bonding. We've seen a lot of Buttercup and Blossom bonding, so I thought that was notable. Mm-hmm. And Buttercup's like, yeah, sweet prison, typical. And by the way, I shouldn't say typical because like I could say that after literally everything about the show, so I shouldn't say that. Typical character reaction. School with the big kids. Then we like cut to them getting like bullied for each one. Blossom, baby voice, Bubbles. It's like, who does your hair? Your daddy? Like I like the way the voice actor said that.
Does.
Like it was very like teen voice saying that. Yeah, he does. And then baby hair, and then Buttercup. Baby face for having
that was so
like
that was really
acne. Yeah,
you don't have cool skin like mine.
That was like, really good.
All these pimples.
It was weird.
Really
yeah,
pretty good. I enjoyed that. That was pretty good.
Professor's reading them a book in bed called My Friend the Atom. That was interesting. Typical. Yeah, typical. They're like, make us older, please. And there's the screenshot for this podcast, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, obviously.
So
and
cute.
I think it's interesting. And this concept of like them wanting to be older to try to fit in. It's kind of interesting. And then we get to the parody of the opening, which isn't the opening anymore. Fiber, prunes, and everything mild, I think.
Mild, yeah.
So good.
Everything mild.
These are the ingredients chosen to make the girls slightly older, but Professor Utenim actually added nothing.
Everything. Did everything right.
Anticlimactic.
It was pretty good. I like that. I don't know if it makes the most sense because like that's not part of the theme we see in the beginning. So like
yeah, well they're kind of assuming like that people understand, like they know. Granted, in the extent the
extended theme, it is there.
Yeah. So. But granted, it is a reboot, so I do think it's acceptable. They're kind of leaning a little bit on the assumption that people know what the Powerpuff Girls are.
I do think it's fair game. I think it's this type of thing is unfortunate because a lot of the criticisms that we'll talk about stem from the fact that people just assume it's the old show.
I agree.
I think it's like, so I think this is funny and I really liked it and it's probably the highlight of the episode, but I would hope that they trend towards not doing this type of thing in the future because it's really just affecting how people enjoy the show apparently because people just can't disassociate a sequel.
Because people just can't like think for
no, they
like
they seem like literally incapable, like not capable of not comparing the two. It's pretty remarkable.
or they're refusing to like not. Yeah.
I just don't understand. Anyway, 1 teaspoon for each of you. Bubbles. Then they go to sneak to find the rest for no reason.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah.
Bubbles is like making her own sneaking music as they're doing it, which is the best.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Also, they're sneaking around their pajamas. They're so adorable. It's painful. Like their onesies are so cute. Like they're just so cute.
They say cheers when they drink them, which is interesting. And then they're old.
Also, they have like straw. They have like
they have straws.
Yeah.
Like, why are those there? Because they had them on spoons initially. He said to only
Professor
take the one spoon, but
like,
there's straws in the thing.
Come on,
Well,
Professor.
no,
Why did
they
you
could
put
have gotten the straws. They could have gotten them.
It seemed like Professor just put them there.
Yeah.
Well, I assume that they went and grabbed the straws and put it in there because that's what I would do.
One would hope. Yeah, one would hope. But we cut to it and like they were kind of there anyway.
Yeah.
And they're like, I wonder if Professor will notice. Of course, I noticed. Bubbles is like knitting at the table. Or Bubble, no, or I don't know. But then then we go to the school and like we go. So,
Bubbles couldn't hear, and Blossom kept falling asleep.
Yeah, and then Bubbles is knitting. Caboodle for your noodle, my child. That was Bubbles. Yeah. Blossom has hard candy, giving it to each of them. Buttercup. In class, they're like, Christopher Columbus didn't discover America. I was on Leif Erikson's boat.
No, see, it's so good. At first, like, it was the Vikings. I was like, wow, this is accurate. And then I was on Leif
and then it stopped being accurate, and it was, oh my god.
No, it was great. I was on Leif Erikson's boat.
They got me, and then it just got so much better.
It was really good, yeah. That was a great scene. Super Old Us got so much street cred, and then we bring in Mojo, and like the episode like gets even better somehow. And
Mojo
New Mojo is really great. I'm really digging New Mojo.
I love Mojo. Well,
Mojo wasn't like this in the original series, right? Like,
well, I mean, no, Mojo's always been kind of like LOL. Mojo's the villain. Okay, like he's very Draken-esque, like in Kim Possible. He's the villain, but like. He's Mojo Jojo.
He wasn't doing things like calling his mom though in the original series.
Right. No.
Well, first of all, that makes no sense because how does he have a mom? But
he doesn't really. But he's more like he's definitely like they've exaggerated how like ridiculous he is, and it's so good. It's so good.
Okay. So let's talk about who's Mojo's mom, Delaney.
See, that's the part that doesn't make sense because like
he was
created in a lab accident. So like that. So then
like a normal chimp.
Yeah, no, but then it's like, why does his mom, if she's theoretically like not a lab experiment, why are they on the phone?
Also a sentient monkey? Like, what are we talking about?
Granted, they could have.
It might just be a different backstory for him.
Yeah, they could have a different backstory, which I'm willing to accept. That's fine.
I mean, yes,
because most people don't even know the backstory to Mojo Jojo anyway, because it was just in the movie.
Interesting. So, they could have just said that's not canon, right? I don't know.
Anyway, it's hilarious. He's on the phone with his mom. Like he's like, he's like, I'm on a crime spree for your birthday, and she seems fine with it. Like it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm walking the dog, or is he walking Mojo? It's pretty great.
So funny.
The hat, the evil laugh, the winning smile. Yeah.
Mojo Jojo, he's a gift.
And then they go walking to fight Mojo. That gag of them moving very slowly. Important crime. Mom, I have important crimes to commit. And Aaron. Oh no, he tells that to the girls. And Aaron's.
Yeah.
We have this weird 2 seconds of Professor trying to make the antidote and then it becoming a monster very quickly.
And then it wants to play patty cake.
Patty cake with him. Yeah, and originally I was like, this is really weird. But then I kind of love how they handle it and just accept it and just do it in 2 seconds and then bring him in at the end.
It's really good. He's in the car.
Yeah, he's just in the car with them. I think it was great. At the end, he's like, this is nice. Yeah, the monster thing.
It's pretty good.
Mojo's stealing a ruby for his mom. Red.
Like ruby's right. It's like your eyes.
Red like your eyes. Yeah, that was interesting. I don't know what that's supposed to be referring to.
That's pretty good.
Crime spree for your birthday. The girls are like, remember when Fuzzy Lumpkins kidnapped the mayor and turned him into cheese? Remember something about robot goats? And then remember when Bubbles had her hand stuck in the claw machine? I don't know why they're saying that, but too.
No, the speech was so good, and they're like, and then it just, let's do this. It was so good.
It was good. And then they throw candy, denture cream, whatever Bubbles knitted, and then the kids come and beat Mojo up. And then Professor comes with the antidote and the monster. The end.
It was really good.
The episode seems better in retrospect, so I don't know.
It's really, the gags in this episode, quality. They're pretty funny.
I agree.
All right, let's talk anachro romance. So we start off with the best scene ever. Blossom is optimizing their movie night experience. And I should just say, this is literally me. It's I need to move the TV.
Same. The TV has to be here. The volume.
It's so good. Blossom is
this is not unlike how we set up for podcasts.
It's
very similar. Yes.
One would hope that I would be the microphone has to be here, but no, I'm not.
I'm like that.
Friday night family movie time. Space tow truck and the infinite jumper cables. So what do we think of Space Tow Truck?
I love it. Like, I love
liked
recurring
it, yeah.
gags.
I wish it was better.
I sold on it once I saw it on the screen. When she first said it, I was like, that sounds kind of random. But when I saw it on the screen, I was like, oh, okay, well, actually, it seems like something.
If this is going to
that would be enjoyable to watch.
Our default fake show, I kind of wish I liked it more, but I don't know.
It's a tow truck in space. I have no problem with it.
I guess it's like Transformers parody, whatever. I guess it can be relevant with Ultron. I don't know if it relates or not, but yeah.
Well, it's like Space Ghost, but with a car. That's why I love it. Because Space Ghost is good stuff.
Buttercup's reactions to it are very good.
It's so funny.
The biggest twist ending, but then... So they say... okay, what's her name? It's Satna Nehru. But they say, some longer name in the beginning. So I don't know if that's supposed to be her full name, right?
Yeah, I
think so, yeah.
Yeah, Satna... Oh, no, it was just... Oh, no, they just said first and last. Oh, I just couldn't understand what they said originally. So it is just Satna Nehru. That's Dr. Satna Nehru. Yeah. Okay. And he's like the cuddle king. And then he's like...
That's great.
Satna... Then they go on the couch together. Personal boundaries being violated, says Blossom. 3 agonizing minutes, says the promo. And this is the most important television event in our generation, says Buttercup. I feel it's great because I feel Buttercup too, also in this situation.
Yeah, I do.
This is me when I watch things.
There's a spider. Sutton is a biologist specializing in arachnid studies, and then she's like,
you talk about how they have superpowers, and they're like, kill a spider!
Yeah, it's great.
Really funny.
And then Sutton puts the spider on the table, and Blossom says, "Not even a coaster."
Yeah, I really liked that one.
Would that make it better? Which is funny because we've had previous episodes where she's freaking out about coasters. Blossom's just so.
I think the "not even a coaster" might be my favorite line of the series. I can't tell you how brilliant that.
Not with spider keys on the table.
Putting the
would that really make make it if you?
Yes.
Yeah, because the spider wouldn't touch the table.
So funny.
That might be my favorite
touching the coaster.
Yeah. Sutton spoils the ending for Buttercup.
And she feeds the last piece of popcorn to the spider.
Yeah, to add insult to injury.
I enjoyed that you gasped when I said that. Thank you.
Because in this set, I feel Bubbles on that. It's her favorite thing, and she's going to eat it, and then a spider gets the last kernel. For shame.
Sutton then goes out. She says she needs to renew magazine subscriptions at 8:30 p.m. on a Friday, says Professor.
Yeah,
that's like the randomest excuse ever.
No, her excuses are terrible, and I love it because
it's really
off
good.
Of it later.
Blossom says, "What was she raised in a barn? A barn without coasters?" It's
Blossom.
Evidently so.
But Blubbles is still going on the popcorn. And
Buttercup's life is ruined because the movie's been spoiled.
Yeah, Buttercup. Then they go to fight the spider for the first time, right? Oh gross, and then she's to punch it away, and then it's Sutton is there. And she's like, no, I have to go to the discount bags of meat. Yeah. And Buttercup says, wait a second, that's not the way to the discount bags of meat store. Yeah.
That tips her off to something being weird, not everything else leading up to it.
And then they're like, are they going to steal him away? And then so here's let's talk about this. Social goggles on.
Yes, social goggles on.
So they have this kind of dream sequence of them worrying about him stealing the presser away. And my big question is this stereotyping stupid thing, based on Sutton's nationality? Is that what we're doing here?
I guess so. It looks like it.
And I'm ready to be outraged, but I didn't even know if that's what they're doing.
I don't know what they were going for. It just made me a little uncomfortable.
Seems like they're going for an Aladdin type thing, right?
Which is the problem, of course.
Which is because she's Indian. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of I don't know how I feel about this.
Apparently there was.
It was.
Yeah.
It's not like it was kung fu or anything, but it wasn't. It still isn't good.
It's the episode of Miraculous Ladybug. Yeah, not a fan of what they did with that. Apparently, we completely missed a potential outrage earlier for Horn Sweet Horn, one of my favorite episodes.
Oh my god, yeah. I'm kind of sad I wasn't there to rant about that episode.
We just didn't even. I still don't even know what it's referring to. I read the Wikipedia section on it on the apparent attempt portrayal at a transgender character, and I just don't even remember what it's referring to. So
wait, are we not? Isn't that the one with him in it?
No, it's not.
No. That was the one with the talent show, right? Where him.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
That's
No.
a different one.
That's
That's
not
a
what I'm even
different
talking
one.
about. Yeah. No, we ranted about him in the talent show episode. This is for
Right.
a different one.
In the talent show.
This is not the one with the
Rainbow?
supposed pony he wants to be a
Yeah,
unicorn.
Donnie. They
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
thinking Donnie's supposed to be transgender and stuff like that. And we don't need to discuss it. I mean, like, we can discuss it at a later date. We'll need to rewatch the episode. I didn't take that character to be that when I was watching, right? So
They didn't really handle it in a way that
I didn't necessarily think they were doing anything wrong, but I wanted to notice it, to mention it here. And I don't know. This time I did. This one I think is fairly offensive. I didn't recognize the last one. Doesn't mean it wasn't.
This one was like, ooh.
It was like,
exactly.
So I don't know. Like, I think that the show is trying to be progressive, so I think it should stop being stereotypical and including him and doing all these bad things, right? Like, that's not something that they should be doing.
Right.
Anyway, so then but then the show instantly gets the goodwill back by having a scene of the girls like sitting down at their pink laptop writing fake love letters from each of them, which is great. And again, we go instantly back to my favorite element of the show, which is how modern it is. I've said it a bunch. And here's them. They each kind of take. We get again a scene of them. Well, here's how this girl reacts. Here's how this girl reacts to them. And they're writing the emails, and Bubbles writes it, and then it's like, here's a video of a hamster riding on a kitten. Is like just like that's how Bubbles writes emails. Okay, and then
it's so funny because like they both all three of them are just like, okay, it's fine with these additions.
Yeah, they're
all very different kinds of additions, but they're all good.
That's great. Yeah, I love that they all accept each
together.
other's contributions. And then at the end, Blossom adds, "Here's the official breakup form is attached." Yeah. Yes.
Please return within 5 business days.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah.
So good.
Then we go Professor playing sad
banjo.
banjo.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah, he's playing a banjo.
It even gets better later.
Does he do that in the original series? Is he known for playing banjo?
I can't think. That doesn't mean it's not.
He might be. I feel like I
just
kind of remember that. I don't know though. Anyway,
it might have happened. It could have just been a 1 episode thing.
Okay.
Miss Nehru is they're in their lab talking to a spider. They emailed Sutton too, apparently, right? Because they're just writing the professor with that one. Bubbles goes to hug her, and it's super adorable, like adorbs. And then he doesn't. I knew it was that. I knew it was from him. He doesn't use the sprinkle mist fonts. I think that's what they said. And then they play the professor's song, which is pretty great. And she turns into a spider. Bubble says, "If this is what love is, count me out," which I thought was interesting. And then they go to fight.
Yep.
Nehru, Spider, Satna, webs them. Professor says the square root of you're like the square root of 2 because I feel rational when I'm around you. Is his song.
I enjoyed his themes on music.
Yeah, and then the girls are beating her up while saying, "We think you're actually a good person. I actually really like you, and I hate hitting you." So Bubbles. It was really good.
Right.
And then she's like, "Are you okay?" Yeah, I'm fine. She is when she's like untransformed and back human again.
Also, they did a really good job of her being covered in like web.
Yeah.
Her
clothes
she
were
wasn't like naked. She had like a nice web dress on.
Like that was A+.
Oh, Sutna, why didn't you tell me you turned into a rampaging monster? Says Professor.
So good.
And she's like, most guys freak out about it. And then they keep shushing each other. And she's like, I was in a lab accident. And every time I feel love, I turn into a spider. I can't be with you until it's cured. And they kiss. And the girls are like, bleh. And Buttercup says, get a lab, you guys. It's great. This whole scene is like so wonderful.
Like they're not like the show doesn't take anything seriously. That's what's so great about it.
I agree. I like it's just nothing is.
That's the point.
Everything is up for parody. And then at the end, Professor puts his banjo back in the banjo closet apparently. And he's like, it's movie night. I'll get the snacks. I'll eat the snacks, says Bubbles. And then Professor's working on Spider Attempt Cure #1. So maybe Sutton will be a recurring character here.
I think so, yeah.
And once again, the Professor's single says the ending.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah. So, I don't know. The ending is just such a great feeling watching it with all the different parodies and stuff going on, all the girls' moments here. So here's my controversial update. This last episode, today's episode, has I think maybe gotten me to switch into Blossom being my favorite character.
This does not surprise me at all.
Yes.
Like the coaster thing. I mean, it's so
Yeah.
good. It's so
Once
good.
you're talking about that, I was like, okay, I can see where Dylan's going.
I mean,
Well, we've established that me and Dylan are Blossom, so
Yeah.
it's going to happen to one of us eventually.
I mean, Bubbles is still the best too, but like, I just love what they're doing with Blossom. Like, it's so good.
like Blossom is just, she's great. They're all great.
Blossom
So it's so
definitely
wonderful.
has a lot better characterization now than than the first like 3 episodes. Because I remember like trying to like understand what they were doing with her, but now it's like super clear what her personality traits are.
Yeah, I agree. It's more. It's clear what they're. I'd still like
Well,
to see more. Maybe like 1 or 2 more Blossom centric episodes, and like to see slightly more to her character beyond the. I don't know how to describe it, but.
Well, we talked about this before. How it's kind of like originally we kind of thought she was not interesting because she has like these certain traits, but that's not strictly true.
Mm-hmm.
Because like that's how like society has made us like think of these traits.
I actually think they're playing the traits really well, and it's like
that's why
I actually think it's like the
about
funniest things recently have been the Blossom lines. Yeah.
Blossom just like her commentary is
I
stellar.
also think Buttercup was really good. She was in the background in these 2 episodes, but I actually really like the Buttercup that we saw from these episodes.
They're all so sassy, and it's so funny how they switch in episodes, like which one is giving the sassy commentary the entire episode.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. I agree. So I'm
Like Buttercup's eye rolls in the background. It's just
I think
it's
they're
all
doing great
good.
character work with the show. I think that if they build up like these side characters, continue with their changing of the cast from the previous series and stuff like that. Like, I think the show's on a great track. Like I mean, I already had a speech about this. Like, I think the show's just legitimately good. Let's talk for a second about the criticisms that I've seen. On like a critical lens, I've kind of just seen it like people saying like it doesn't compare favorably to the original Powerpuff Girls. And then on I checked CEO's reaction to this for some reason, and they're super negative about like what have they done to the show, that type of thing. I've seen reactions on Tumblr about like
It's very Teen Titans Go reaction.
very much like Teen Titans Go reaction, and
That makes sense.
like a Tumblr post like showing the my most hated shot from the show, the Bubbles no me gusta face, and like, what have they done
I've
with
seen
the
that
show?
face a lot.
Is this real? That's like what the post does. Like, why would they do this? Like, just the typical like Tumblr like making those comments without even ever bothering to like watch an episode of the show.
Right.
So I just want to say that I feel like all these criticisms boil down to one thing, which is that they expect this Powerpuff Girls reboot to be at all connected to the original. And the reality is that
they expect it to be the original.
the
They
reality
expect
is that
to
it
be
is.
the
It is
same
connected, and it is very similar to the original.
Yeah.
However, that doesn't mean that you have to view it in a lens of expectations with the original. The show, I can tell you, as someone who is immensely enjoying it, is best viewed as its own entity. Just because it's called the Powerpuff Girls, just because it has the old characters and a lot of the same voice actors and similar plots, it doesn't mean it is the original series. Like, I actually think that is a concept that a lot of people have trouble understanding. I don't know.
Well, we've talked about this before about reboots. If you want a reboot. If you just want the show again, just go rewatch the show. A reboot, there's no point in literally recreating the show. Like, it has to be different, and they're doing a modern take on it. Like, it's the point of a reboot. It's for a new generation.
I mean, and you can get into how you should reboot shows, and I think that I agree with what Delaney's saying, but I also think it's not like super relevant. Like, the fact of the matter is, this is its own entity. And I think that the show is struggling to figure that out on its own. I think our biggest criticisms, other than potential offensive things, have been this show clearly is holding on to too many things from the past. We got it, the most critical Delaney and I have been about the show is when discussing him in that episode, and we just very much think that the show needs to let go of elements that don't jive with the current thematics of the reboot. And just because the show is having trouble differentiating itself, it doesn't mean that you need to view it with a lens of expectation from the old series. I just feel like if your criticism is this show is not as good as the original series, and your opinion is like, why did they do it to this show? I just feel like your criticism is instantly invalid. I just don't think it's just misguided. I just think you're not critiquing this series. Like, you can't write a review comparing this with like you can write a review comparing it if you want to, but it should be irrelevant to like your grade of the series or whatever.
They're two different shows. I mean, they have the same name,
like,
but they're different.
Please understand, your criticism is not valid if it is predicated on a comparison to the original series. I don't understand. I'm seeing very few people talk about it like we are.
Well, I mean, I see that point, Dylan, but at the same time, I feel like it's pretty hard not to compare something that is a reboot. You know,
I can say no. I think it's valid to
but you
talk
should be
about
able
it
to appreciate it as itself, as opposed to just holding it up to this ridiculous expectation of the original show.
Of course, you should be able to view it on its own merits, which will be distinct.
Like we talked about in this podcast how elements compared to the original series, and like if your review talks about that, then I think that's fine. But it's not. It's not a related concept. Let's take Scooby-Doo for example. Scooby-Doo has been Scooby-Doo hasn't even technically been rebooted. There's literally just like 5 bajillion different versions of Scooby-Doo, but no one's critiquing Scooby-Doo the way they're critiquing Powerpuff Girls, because Scooby-Doo is what Scooby-Doo is. There's no different than this. Like, this is just a different version of Powerpuff Girls. And I just want to say, like, a lot of the things that people I saw, like, outrage on CO about, like, in terms of they turned this Powerpuff Girls classic into this type of show that's, like, cute and bright and feminist. These are the things that I love about it. Those are the reasons that I love it. Like, the differences are why it's so special to me. So I completely reject almost every criticism I've seen of the show.
Oh, they made this show accessible to young girls. How dare they?
Exactly. Like, this is, I think, a lot of the criticisms boil down to...
People have been saying that?
I mean, it's... In
terms of accessibility, it's interesting.
Places. I think that a lot of criticisms you'll see of kind of everything are... this is like the types of things we heard when Delaney and I reviewed RWBY. It's like the male sense of entitlement about the property, I feel like, is a big factor here. And there's a lot of boys that grew up on Powerpuff Girls and don't want to see this show like memeified and feministified, and you know what? Too bad, like, because that's what's happening, and that's not a legitimate critical reason to a show about 3 little girls with superpowers should be feminist. It should be about girls. Sorry. So and like I've seen it to the extent where I'm seeing and also I'm also seeing on Tumblr like why would they do this in terms of like the animation being weird, and like I saw one post of a comparison of original storyboards to finalized animation, and it's like, how could they possibly do this? And I just don't understand, because the animation's fine. And
well, there was an animation error in
there are a lot of animation errors.
There's animation goofs with who's talking. I personally haven't even noticed anyone watching.
Well, it's like I noticed one today because the leash disappeared and came out.
That's from the ones
it's not really that big of a deal. Like,
I just think these types of criticisms are trying to invalidate something without actually considering its legitimate merits. Like, animation errors are really not a good reason to...
they are nitpicks. That's true.
And I also saw it to the extent where, like, one of the storyboard artists was, like, reblogged, like, a super negative post. And
they were being horrible, and I got pissed.
I'm sorry that you feel this way. I like working on the show, and as the one outlet online that's positive about the show, I want to say that it's like we really enjoy it, and I just regardless of whether, like, we're going to be negative sometimes, of course, because, it's a new show and stuff like that. But it's not perfect, and it's not instantly, like, super brilliant. I'm not saying it's infallible. But at the same time, I think almost everything I've seen is just, not only do I disagree with it, I just think it's, like, illegitimate. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's one thing to just have a different opinion, but to predicate your opinion on the old series or on nitpicks and stuff like that, I just feel like it's invalid. So,
and it's at face value. Like, they're clearly not watching the show.
I agree.
It's very much,
I agree.
Like, it's very much seeing something and then...
Please watch the show if you wanna do that. Yeah.
And also, I understand people have a bad taste in their mouth about Teen Titans Go. This show makes me want to watch Teen Titans Go. I want to give Teen Titans Go a chance, because obviously Teen Titans Go isn't going to be what Teen Titans was. Like, obviously. It's a different show, and it's just... This is a different show. I love Powerpuff Girls. Grew up watching it, but it's also like... I'm an adult enough to allow a new generation to love Powerpuff Girls and for them to love this show, because this show has something for them in it. Like, I grew up on early 2000s cartoons that were, like, snarky and satirical and, like, kind of over your head and ridiculous. That's not how cartoons are right now, and I kind of appreciate it. It's different, it's fun, it's light, and this is the kind of stuff I want to watch. Like, if I want to watch something dark and gritty, I'll watch some live action like show, but this is good stuff, and we should appreciate it for like what animation is coming to right now. We shouldn't hold it to some standard just because we grew up watching cartoons that were different.
And like, maybe it's a progression, maybe it's not, but it's just a thing.
It's just different.
What it is.
It's
just
different.
what it is right now, you know? And I don't care if you don't really like the cute-ifying, moe-ifying trend of these Teen Titans Go type show. It doesn't invalidate it just because what it's doing, because the show is so much more than that Teen Titans Go-y type trend. And I also think that what's the brilliance of the show is the fact that it's utilizing that type of tone and like the visuals to effect in its storytelling. And I just don't be instantly cynical of something that's different. Just like try to accept it. Like that's a general.
And it's amazing that they decided, they looked back and they picked a show. They picked Powerpuff Girls. We're going to bring Powerpuff Girls into the modern age. We're going to bring Powerpuff Girls to a new audience. Like, that's awesome. Like,
it is,
we should be happy that it exists.
And like, regardless of anything that you might feel negative towards the show about how it's different from the thing you loved as a kid, the fact that young girls right now might be taking positives from the show is way more important than anything you have to say about it. Is what I'd have to say.
Pretty much.
That's definitely true.
So, like, I think that criticisms are valid, but please watch the show and please don't predicate them on things that are illogical, is what I'd say.
Yep.
There you go. So,
like, it's a reboot. It's not the same show. If you want the same show, go watch the show.
And, you know, like, and I'm not saying, like, don't be negative about it. If you didn't love one of these two episodes, you want to comment on that and have, like, you know, like discussions about it, like, you know, that's great. And, like, Delaney and I weren't in love with, what was the hint? Tiara Trouble, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a problematic episode, so we can have serious discussions about that. So,
we'll have many more discussions about him.
But I'm just very positive right now on the show. I look back and I see, like, 5 legitimately great episodes, I think, something like that. Like,
yeah, they're pretty solid. For a new series, this is pretty solid.
Yeah, so hoping I don't know if the show is the Wikipedia list stops here. I assume it's continuing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it gets updated. Like, monthly. You can't really look ahead to the new episodes.
Yeah, I assume that we're still having a new episode next week. I haven't checked that though, so we will see. Anyway, yeah, assuming that the show is continuing, likely we'll be back in 2 weeks to discuss the next 2 episodes. If not, then we'll discuss it when there are new episodes. Who knows with Cartoon Network. Final thoughts on these episodes or on the new Powerpuff Girls?
Very funny, most cute.
Really like Buttercup. Excited to see more with her.
The Buttercup fandom is real. I'll be repping
Buttercup is
the other two fandom. Anyway, let us know what you thought of this discussion. What are general comments on the series, stuff like that. Comments on YouTube, on the overlyanimated.com, on the comment section for this podcast, or send us Tumblr asks. If you disagree with anything that I said or we said here, I encourage you to speak up. That being said, if you say something, if your comment is something that I think is illogical, I will say it's illogical, and it's not like I don't mean it meanly. It's just I will call that out. So there you go. I'm Dylan Hysen, Delaney Stovall, Michelle Anderer. You can find everything about this podcast at overlyanimated.com. This ad-free podcast is brought to you by our patrons. If you want to support this, you can do so at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much to Shayna, Mitch, Cordell, Beatrice, Nate, Andy, Jamie, Rachel, John, Ryan, and Catherine, aka Hannah, Fever Match, Cordell, University Beach, James, Nathan, William, Buzz Lightyear, Mailman, Rachel Rose, Johnny Bravo, Brian, and Cookie Cat. Next podcast coming your way on Overly Animated. Also out on Thursday night is going to be me and Mel discussing the last 2 episodes of Archer. Tomorrow is a discussion, is our weekly Steven Universe Roundtable, which we already recorded, and it's great. Speculating on the recent announcement trailer and the spoilers.
Yes.
So check that out. And Delaney and I will be discussing Ladybug, our weekly Miraculous Ladybug discussion this weekend. Thank you very much for listening. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.